Good morning, afternoon, or evening from whenever or wherever you are watching this video from. I am Jack Adamas, back with my Premier League football predictions, episode 7, game week 7. Let's get straight into it. Before we start this video, quickly hit that subscribe button as we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We start game week 7 with tonight's match at 8 PM, which sees Bournemouth at home to Fulham. Bournemouth have made their best ever start to a Premier League campaign. After losing on opening day, they've now gone on a run of 5 games unbeaten with 3 wins and 2 draws in that time. They will also be boosted at the fact they have only lost 1 of their last 7 home league matches. Fulham come into this game and they are even across the board with 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses to their name this season. They were unfortunate last weekend though, as they played Aston Villa. They went 1-0 up and they should have had 2 clear penalties in that match, which weren't given because of VAR. So they do now find themselves just outside the top half of the table on goal difference. Fulham have lost their last 3 visits to the Vitality Stadium, but they haven't lost 4 consecutive games at Bournemouth in their club's history. I think that will stay the same here as the honours will be shared in a 2-2 draw. Moving on to Saturday, we have the early kickoff, which sees Leeds hosting Tottenham. Leeds, who were tipped for immediate relegation back to the Championship, have started off this season very well. They do have 2 losses to their name, but they both came on the road. They are undefeated in their first 3 home matches this season, and they have played some good opposition in that time, as they have played Everton, Newcastle, and most recently Bournemouth. Spurs are having a stop-start season and they have drawn their last 2 matches. They drew to Wolves last weekend in the Premier League and they did come from 2-0 down to draw with Bodo Glimt on Wednesday in the Champions League. So they will be looking to bounce back to winning ways and they will see this as a good opportunity to do so. As Spurs have won the last 3 head-to-heads between these 2 sides, scoring 4 goals in each of those matches, I think they'll have to settle for 3 this time, as I can see Richarlison scoring in a Tottenham 3-1 victory. Moving on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we start with title contenders Arsenal at home to West Ham. Arsenal showed a winning mentality last weekend as they came from behind to beat Newcastle away at St James's Park, and that showed me for the first time that Arsenal are seriously title contenders this season, as in the past seasons I know that was a game where they would have ended up dropping points. West Ham looked like a completely different team in that second half against Everton last weekend, and now Nuno has had a full week in charge there. Will they still have the new manager bounce coming into this one? West Ham have won their last 2 visits to the Emirates Stadium and they can become only the 2nd team ever to win 3 consecutive games away from home at the Emirates. I don't think that will be the case though, as I think they will suffer their record 135th London derby defeat, as I can see Arsenal winning here 3-0. Next up we have Manchester United at home to Sunderland. This will be Ruben Amorim's 50th game in charge and it could be his last if they suffer a defeat here, as he has already lost 50% of his games so far in the Premier League this season. He will have to break the Man United hoodoo as well, as none of the last 5 permanent Manchester United managers have won their 50th game in charge. Sunderland are flying high at the moment with 11 points in their first 6 matches, and they will be looking to add 3 more here, as they will see this as a chance to go to Old Trafford and win all 3 points. And they are the first team in Premier League since 2012 to pick up the most points by a newly promoted side. This is the first head-to-head between these 2 sides in 8 years, and Manchester United have only lost 2 of the last 30 head-to-heads. I do think that Ruben Amorim will still be in the job come after the international break, as I can see Manchester United winning here in a 2-0 victory. And for the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, it is game of the weekend as we have Chelsea hosting Liverpool. Chelsea did get back to winning ways after beating Benfica midweek in the Champions League. However, they have suffered back-to-back Premier League defeats in their last 2 matches, and they have picked up a red card in each of those games. They find themselves 7 points behind Liverpool at the top of the table, so if they do lose here, it will be 10 points adrift after only 7 matches, so they can't afford to lose here. Liverpool have also suffered back-to-back defeats, which is only the 2nd time they have done so under Arne Slot, and something isn't right at Liverpool at the moment, but I can't point my finger on it. They will need to get back to winning ways ASAP though, and it won't be easy as they have lost their last 3 visits to the capital. Chelsea will be looking to register back-to-back home league wins over Liverpool for the first time since 2006. I don't think they will do so though, as I can see Liverpool being ruthless in this game and getting the 3 points with a 3-1 victory. Moving on to Sunday, we have the first of 4 games to be played at 2 PM as we have Aston Villa hosting Burnley. After Aston Villa's slow start to the season, they now have 3 wins in a row, 2 wins in the Europa League, either side of a win in the Premier League, and they have only lost 1 of their last 21 matches at Villa Park, so things aren't looking very good for Burnley in this one. Burnley currently sit in the bottom three, and the fixture list has been unkind to them. Unfortunately for them, though, they do need to get better on the road, as they have lost their last 3 league away matches, conceding 3 or more goals in each of those matches. Defensively, last season in the Championship, they was extremely good. They conceded 16 goals all season. If they concede 4 or more goals here, they would have already conceded more goals this season than they did in the whole of last. And with Aston Villa being on a 16-game unbeaten run against newly promoted sides, with 12 wins and 4 draws in that time, I can see that staying the same here. I can't see Burnley conceding 4 here, but I can see them conceding 2 as Aston Villa win 2-0. Next up, we have Everton at home to Crystal Palace. Everton started off the season well. After losing on opening day, they recorded 3 wins in a row, but since then they've gone on a run of 4 games without a victory, with 2 losses and 2 draws to their name in all competitions. They are still undefeated at the Hill Dickinson Stadium though, with 2 wins and 2 draws, so they'll want that to continue in this one. I know this is a big shout, but Crystal Palace are probably the best informed team in the world right now, as they are on a run of 19 games undefeated in all competitions, so they will be looking to continue that to make it 20 come full time. Everton are unbeaten against Crystal Palace in the last 9 meetings between these two sides, and they did do the league double over Crystal Palace last season, but I do think Crystal Palace will make it 20 games without tasting defeat, as I can see this one ending in a 1-1 draw. Also at 2 PM on Sunday, we have Newcastle at home to Nottingham Forest. This is a game of 2 teams struggling so far in the Premier League, as last season these 2 teams were battling it out for Champions League football. They find themselves 15th and 17th in the Premier League table, with only 1 point between them. However, Newcastle did find their shooting boots on Wednesday, as they won 4-0 in the Champions League away to USG. Well, this is definitely the definition of be careful what you wish for, as Nottingham Forest were flying under Nuno Espirito Santo. They now replace him with Big Ange, who's gone 6 games without a win, with 3 losses and 3 draws to his name. And now you just got to think to yourself, how long will his tenure last at Forest if it keeps going the way it is? Newcastle have won 6 of the last 7 head-to-heads between these two sides, although that defeat did come 2 years ago at St James's Park. I do think Newcastle will follow up that 4-0 victory in the Champions League with a 3-0 victory here, piling on more pressure on Big Ange. And the last 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday sees Wolves hosting Brighton. Wolves picked up their first point of the season last weekend as they drew 1-1 away to Spurs, and they were unlucky not to get all 3 points in that one. However, their home form has been bad. They've lost their first 3 games of the season at home, and if they do suffer another defeat here, they'll be the first team in English top flight history to lose their first 4 home league games of a season in successive seasons. Brighton got a very good victory last weekend as they beat Chelsea, and now they have only suffered defeat once in their last 6 games in all competitions, and as they did come from behind to beat Chelsea last weekend, they now have picked up the most points this season from losing positions. Wolves don't have the best home record against Brighton, as they've only won 1 of the last 9 games to be played at Molineux. I do think there'll be goals in this one. I do think Wolves will pick up their second point of the season as well, as I think this one will end in a high scoring 2-2 draw. And to round up game week 7, it is the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday as Brentford host Man City. Brentford secured a good victory last weekend as they beat Manchester United at home, which now means they've only suffered defeat once in their last 7 home league matches, and they will be looking to become only the second team ever in Premier League history to get back-to-back victories over both Manchester United clubs for the first time since Spurs done it in 1996. City currently sit with 10 points in their first 6 league matches, which is their worst start to a season for 11 years. They did suffer another setback as they drew 2-2 with Monaco in the Champions League as well midweek, but they will be looking to bounce back to the Premier League with that 5-1 victory over Burnley. They will look to continue that form coming into this one. City haven't lost in their last 4 head-to-heads against Brentford, and I think that will continue here as Pep Guardiola gets his 250th Premier League victory under his belt in a 3-1 victory for Man City. Thank you very much if you are still here at the end of my video. I really do appreciate the love and support I've been getting from you guys. Please do continue to like, share, follow, but most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's try and get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Have a good weekend, guys, and remember, if you don't shoot, you can't score. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.